Okay, so what we're going to be doing is we're going to address on the Jayce pick on why it was played against RNG versus TSM. Now, for one example, I see a lot of people upset on why Hunter first picked Jayce, I believe, and some people think he's useless. They're entitled to their own opinion. I do not agree that he's useless. Um, I've said that in my opinion, I think he's been strong for about 2 months now. Um, but especially with the E buff on how much damage it does, and then his reduced mana, he's just amazing in my opinion. I think that he is a better mid laner playstyle than top. I prefer him playing top because I get ganked less. I'm not in the highest elo, and just to prove that, that is my win rate with him. It's actually 20% because I've played a custom. I am not the highest elo, but I'm not exactly near the lowest either. Um, they're not that bad scores. Yes, there are a lot of deaths, but it's solo queue people. I just play for fun. These are all normals. I play with some of my friends, and so on. So that's me. Um, in this, some people, on Reddit, of course, because this is where most people go to check League in general. Some people think that that Jayce isn't that good. Now, compared to Poppy, I do agree. Jayce, in my opinion, is not a first pick. I think he's a counter pick. Um, and I don't know. That's just my opinion. I think he does extremely well against Poppy, sadly, in the early game, but late game he doesn't bring as much utility to the team. But he could absolutely obliterate a whole team. So when it comes to 50 CS up and useless in team fights, I don't necessarily think that. I think that for a champion who split pushed, or for a player who split pushed the whole entire game and did 24.2k damage compared to Poppy, who did roughly the same. I think that's absolutely insane. As if you read the Jayce buffs and you know how much damage his E does, and his poke in general, it is insane. Now, I'm just gonna show up win rates as if you keep reading. Why is anybody picking him? Wonder, yeah, Wonder did play it against RNG, and he did extremely well. Let's see if I could find it. Okay, so this guy, and he's entitled to his own opinion. This is what he believes, and good for him. So he has yet to understand why Jayce is such a priority pick on Worlds of Fort. Jayce is, and this guy is absolutely correct. I totally agree with him. He has great burst damage. He can absolutely one shot. He is absolutely insane. He snowballs out of control. In my opinion, he is the best champion in League right now. Other than there are champions who do better, but he could be played in two positions other than just one. For example, I think Syndra is really good, so is Vladimir, but they could only really be played in one lane. Vladimir can be played top, but his win rate is not the same as it is in mid. I do agree with this. I have no clue why people still don't build tier. Tier on Jayce is absolutely insane. Yes, he doesn't need it anymore for laning phases because of his mana is a lot, or his mana is not exactly bigger, but it's just everything costs less mana. But what I don't get is that why Jayce isn't necessarily an early game champion. So when you build him from mid game to late game, which is what you usually do because that's what he is, why not build tier? It's just like Ryze. Ryze is not he is not the best early game champion, which is why you build him for late game, which is why you would go for tier or Rod of Ages and then Rylai's and so on, so on, so on. So yes, he's good for burst, but I get to see Jayce get past the full tank tops that are always picked into him. Exactly. Picked into him. I think Jayce is a counter pick Jayce does extremely well against, people, as in Trinamere, which we probably won't see at Worlds. He's extremely good against Jax. We probably won't see that either. Um, he's great against Cannon. I think he's absolutely massive against Rumble. Even though Rumble, in my opinion, can win that matchup, it's a very skillful one. And then I think Jayce absolutely obliterates Irelia. For the longest, Irelia has countered Jayce, but I think he destroys her. It just depends on how you play the matchup. The only person that I can think of that totally agrees with me on that is McNoon. He thinks that the Jayce and Irelia matchup is very skillful between one another, and it's just is one of the biggest skill matchups in the game, in my opinion. But I think Jayce can absolutely destroy it if he could. But I totally agree with this guy. If just Jayce without tier is really weak compared to when he is. His burst damage is insane, and like believe. Okay, yeah. If you just Jayce combo, you're pretty much out of mana. So when you build Myrrh mana, you just do so much more damage, and then Myrrh mana turns Jayce's weakness into strength. I totally agree with that. So that's just Reddit. So looking at pro builds, this is just an example. This is what a lot of pros have been doing. Yes, X Special's not top laner. Oh, Impact is. No, none of them have built tier. Usually, tier is built on mid laner mid Jayce. As we can see, it's only a 10.1% popularity compared to like everything else. I still think that it should be built first. I think it's absolutely ridiculous on the damages. And some people don't understand how strong Jayce is. So before about September 22nd, actually, way before that was here. If we could find this. Oh no, we can't. Okay, never mind. I'll just stick to what I rehearsed. So we can see Jayce, 53% win rate, about 5 roughly popularity, 53, 53. And then he just spikes, he spikes up from 5% to 8%, still maintains, but then it drops down 3%, still maintains 8, 45%, and then roughly 50. And that's in NA. If you look at Korea, whose solo queue is way more, a lot better than ours. Let's look at ranked, actually. I don't know if that's going to load. Is it going to load? Okay. 58%, huge popularity. Now, the thing is, when popularity is higher, the win rates could, change a lot, just because there are some people who just meta pick it and don't know what they're doing, compared to people who do know what they're doing and pick it all the time. So, it's roughly around 51%, unless you go to, this is all ranked. We can look at Masters to see how low or high it is. Masters, it's absolutely insane. It's almost in the 60s at all times. He is ridiculously strong. And that's just Korea. We could look at North America Masters, actually. Yeah. 73%. This is just give or take, of course. It changes that daily. It just depends on who's playing. I think he's absolutely insane. Again, you can look at Europe. This will be the last one. What is this? Okay, 58. And yes, it does tank. Look at the popularity though, 28%. And that's not counting if it's banned. Here we can see that this is just OPGG. A lot of people use this. A lot of people use LOL King. I'm not a fan of it just because, a lot of these, statistic sites are, not all of them are always the same. We can see his pick rate actually go from the 11th to the 24th. It goes 26 to 17, but then it goes from 17 all the, okay, if I can get this out of my goddamn way. Okay. Okay, there we go. So we can say it go from 26, 17, 14, 5th, and then 3rd when it comes to pick rate. That is insane. Now, I don't know if that's just top lane. Well, this does say top Jayce pick rate. I don't know if this is just champions in general on pick rate or just top lane in general. I'm not so sure about that. That's all the masters and stuff. Win rate, it doesn't really change. All of it's around 51%, which is a higher win rate than most champions in the game, as we could see. Like, I believe Ryze has a really low win rate, despite him being pretty good. So when it comes to pro players who actually know how to play Jayce, they have decent win rates, 55%. You could climb solo queue with that. So, why not pick him? You have just Jayce, he plays, just Jayce. 50%, that's still pretty decent, not counting on, like, this is just Jayce. This isn't just, here, let me click ranked. Say if you played some normals or anything. It's actually 47%. Okay, so he did play a normal game, that cheeky bastard. Oh god. And you see him. He builds tier. Alright, if you say, I was trying to prove my point. Still 55%. Oh, close that. And he builds tier. I still don't get why some Jayces don't do it. You don't first pick him, and you always build tier. Like, you just do that and you win the game easily. Jayce Reno. 60%. You could easily climb solo queue with that. Does he build tier? Wait, what the hell? Okay. No. Sadly. But, I don't know. He does so much more damage, and you can see in the damages. Okay, I probably shouldn't look at a lost game. Let's look at it. I guess that's kind of even. Yeah, he did the highest damage in the game, and he continuously does that every single time. If we look at Worlds, just the champion statistics, he has 9 bans, 14 picks. He has 7 wins, 7 losses. That's a 50% win rate, That's not that bad. Don't get me wrong, it's no Syndra. Syndra has a very high win rate of 63%. So does Nidalee, but Nidalee has the highest ban, and so does Syndra. And that's what's pick and ban. A lot of teams who pick Jayce, I don't know if this will actually show. No, okay. Well, will it show like who's picked him? I doubt it. In my opinion, I think a lot of people don't really know how to play him. His combo, is easy. You pretty much get the passive proc on the ranged, so it ends up doing more damage, and then you just QE, auto them a couple times with W if you want. I don't do that in ranged form. I don't bother with it. I don't think you need to. And then you absolutely burst somebody down. You switch to hammer, you go Q, W, E, auto, and they're absolutely dead. I also run Ignite though, because I like cheesing people. As I said, I'm not high elo. I don't do TP. I don't know. I think when I don't rely on myself in my own lane, I end up losing. And that may be because I suck, but that's me. I still don't agree with people saying, yeah, because he is the best 1v1 meta champion right now. I agree, but I also disagree with that. But I think he is the best champion in the game easily right now. That may be saying a little much. I don't think Jayce is the strongest top laner. I don't think he's the strongest mid laner. So why does that make him the strongest champion? I don't know. That's just my views. I think he's absolutely insane. He has the high damage. He has high survivability. He can do a lot that other people can't. He has decent CC. I would not go Frozen Mallet on him, though. That would give him, really good CC, or at least, above average. But that's pretty much why people are picking Jayce. I think he's a solo queue champion, competitive. He doesn't do necessarily that well against Poppy. But other than that, he does alright. It sucks that TSM couldn't pull through, but just saying that, he does absolutely nothing compared to Poppy is kind of, I don't know, ignorant, in my opinion. He does a ton of damage. He provided a ton of damage. He split pushed the whole game and did a ton of damage. He was 50 CS up. That brings up a lot of gold lead. The only thing that was bad about TSM is they actually didn't contest Dragon whatsoever. Doublelift also did not show up today. And that's just my views. I still think Jayce is a great top laner. I just think that people can't necessarily play him correctly. Yes, they're better than me by far, but, you know, if I'm gonna look at, like, you know, somebody, I'm gonna look at, like, Jayce players, and this is just NA players too. Like, if I would go look at a Korean Jayce main, which I actually can't remember his name, but he's the one that got me into Jayce, and he's absolutely insane. And he had an 80% win rate on Jayce back in the day. This was his last season when Jayce mid was really popular. So I don't know what he is now, but I'm pretty sure he's still the best Jayce in Korea. I could be wrong about that. But that's my views on Jayce. That's pretty much why I believe that he's picked. I still don't think he's a first pick. I think he's a counter pick. I still think you go tier on him, in my opinion, because he just does way more. And that's pretty much it. And that's just my views and what I think. So thank you for watching.